toddlers and babies are dropped into water have been criticised by experts as harmful and distressing. The classes, which are commonplace in the United States, aim to teach young children to rescue themselves by rolling onto their backs in water. Well, I'm joined now by Joanna Wood, who's head of Aquatics at the swimming school Turtle Tots. A very good afternoon to you. I have to start, first of all, by asking you to give a bit of an explanation of some of these videos as you may have seen them, because we're talking sometimes about very young children, even babies, being completely submerged into the water and encouraged to try and flip themselves onto their backs to stop themselves from drowning.
That's right. The technique it's done over a period of 6 weeks, 10 minutes per day, whereby babies are taken into the pool. This starts from about 6 months, and babies are taken into the pool not with a parent or carer, they're just with an instructor. And they are conditioned in how to learn to roll over from a face down position or from a position that's under the water to be able to flip and float onto their backs. However, the process is fairly traumatic for babies, particularly at the beginning. And as you said, there are countless videos of this freely available on YouTube where, you know, it's really quite distressing to watch. And although people say it's only 10 minutes a day, it does actually feel like the longest 10 minutes of your life when you're watching these videos. The babies and the children are clearly distraught, distressed, under high levels of stress, and their cues and their communication are being ignored. Parents are doing this with very well-meaning intent, but it's not. The means does not just, you know, the end does not justify the means.
Well, surely, I mean, first of all, a lot of babies are born in water, aren't they? And we're told as parents that your child will be able to swim naturally as soon as it's born, because obviously it was in water inside the womb. So a lot of parents think that their children are naturally very comfortable with water. But also, you mentioned there, this is done from a place of love. It's not done in a cruel manner. It's done because they want to make sure that those children are safe if, for example, they have a pool that child could access accidentally on its own.
Absolutely. I don't suggest for a minute that anybody does this technique other than from a place of love. However, I think parents are being misguided and mistakenly sold something. The same life-saving skills can be taught in a gentle, respectful way that does not cause babies this level of stress and trauma.
I have seen some of the videos on my own timeline, and as a mum, the first time I saw it, I did find some of it difficult because the babies are trying to make eye contact with people on the edge of the pool and are being ignored. And as you say, it's those distress sounds that are so upsetting to parents and carers as well. But if it means that just one baby or one child doesn't drown, that has to be a good thing, especially given that we do lots of things as parents, don't we, that our children might not like and might cause distress. For example, vaccinations, but we do it for their own good.
That argument has been used, and vaccinations certainly are very, very important, and I wouldn't argue against that. But vaccinations is very different. It's a very short period of time that baby's distressed for, and as you say, they are held in the loving arms of a parent, and they are immediately comforted, and there's that attuned, responsive connection between carer and baby. And this is one of the things that is so damaging about these techniques, is this disconnect that the baby feels from the adult who is supposed to keep them safe, who is supposed to be their safe space, who is standing by and watching while their communication and their cries for help, desperate cries for help sometimes, are repeatedly ignored. Whilst this is done from a place of love, a baby will not be feeling that. The adult knows that, the baby doesn't. And, you know, what's the lasting impact of that on a baby's brain? Just at the point where these techniques, as you say, have been around for decades in the USA. However, in the last 2 decades, the research into developmental psychology, neuroscience has come on exponentially. What we know now about how babies' brains develop in the first few years of their life absolutely makes these techniques morally unacceptable.
That's interesting. So what would you say is the correct and safe and most healthy way to ensure that your little one is safe around water? Because it's every parent's biggest fear, isn't it? Especially over the summer.
Absolutely. Firstly, I'd like to say that I think that fear, you're quite right, fear comes into this greatly. Now, of course, it's every parent's greatest fear, and my heart goes out to any parent who's lost a child through drowning. However, it's really important to look at this in context. Statistically, the chance of drowning is very, very small compared to other forms of accidental death, for example. Now, in the UK in 2015, there were 4 deaths from drowning. 2 of those were in the bath, where clearly this technique would not have helped anybody, and two were in ponds. How do parents ensure that their children are safe around water? Firstly, no method, not drown proofing, none of these roll and float methods, nothing can absolutely guarantee that. However, attending swimming classes early with your child. At Turtle Tots, our classes start from as young as birth. We've had babies as young as 8 or 9 days old join us in our warm water pools. Being with your child in the water as often as possible. So attending classes, but also going swimming with your child, having a loving, close, responsive connection, listening to what your child wants and doesn't want to do. As I've just mentioned, the industry in the UK is joining forces to come together to basically say that swimming should be taught in a gentle, child-led way. Children will naturally learn to swim if they are taken into the pool regularly with a loving and responsive adult. This method just is not necessary.
Okay, well, the controversial technique of single swim is becoming more popular in the UK. Really good, though, to get your take on it. Joanna Wood, thanks very much for joining us. Now, millions of families are struggling to make ends meet because of rising living costs, a freeze on benefits and higher inflation. The report by the Joseph Rowntree